What's up, film factors, and welcome to the evolution of animation from 2010 to 2020. 2010, Pixar continues its most popular franchise after more than 10 years, DreamWorks performs excellently, Disney repositions itself, and one of the biggest studios is born. Pixar brings back a classic with Toy Story 3, which is extremely well received, sets new standards, and becomes the first animated movie to gross over $1 billion. DreamWorks successfully continues the Shrek series with earnings of around $750 million and launches one of its future most popular franchises with How to Train Your Dragon. That same year, DreamWorks also releases a third movie, Megamind, which lands solidly in the middle of the pack. After difficult years, Disney finally makes a big comeback with Tangled, the most expensive animated movie ever made, ushering in a new era. A high budget is clearly reflected in the quality. Additionally, the studio Illumination emerges from nowhere with Despicable Me and impresses on all fronts. A new giant is on the rise. Other movies of the year include The Secret World of Arrietty and Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Ga'Hoole. 2011, DreamWorks and Pixar focus on popular sequels, Blue Sky Studios scores a second hit besides Ice Age, and Nickelodeon plays a strong hand. The sequel to Kung Fu Panda is another masterpiece in the series, grossing over $660 million. Additionally, DreamWorks drops the Shrek spin-off, Puss in Boots, which brings in around $550 million. After 5 years, Pixar brings the Cars franchise back to the big screen, and it earns about $560 million, making it more successful than its predecessor. There are only two types of people here, those who love the movie and those who hate it. Blue Sky Studios finally lands another hit besides Ice Age with Rio, showing significant progress. Nickelodeon surprises everyone this year with the Oscar-winning animated Western Rango and the reboot of Tintin, which uses unique technology and breathes new life into the industry. Aardman, after working with DreamWorks, now collaborates with Sony Pictures Animation for the movie Arthur Christmas, a mix of computer animation and stop motion. Other noteworthy movies include Romeo and Juliet and Happy Feet 2. 2012, Blue Sky Studios and DreamWorks rely on proven successes, Pixar ventures into a princess movie, Disney impresses once again, and Sony Animation lays the foundation for its biggest franchise. With Ice Age 4, Blue Sky Studios continues its usual success, earning around $880 million despite fairly poor reviews. DreamWorks releases Madagascar 3, which grosses nearly $750 million, making it one of DreamWorks' most successful movies alongside the Shrek series. Additionally, the fan-favorite Rise of the Guardians is released. Pixar launches Brave, which lands in the middle both financially with $540 million and in terms of story. With Wreck-It Ralph, Disney follows up Tangled with another strong movie, reclaiming its place among the top studios. Sony Animation also gets a taste of the big leagues with Hotel Transylvania, which will shape the future of the studio. Illumination releases The Lorax, which is quite successful for a studio's second animated movie. It becomes clear that Illumination is a serious competitor to the major players. Stop-motion animation also seems to be popular this year with The Pirates, in an adventure with scientists, Paranorman, and Frankenweenie. 2013, Disney lands by far the biggest animated hit, Illumination grows surprisingly fast, and Pixar launches its next franchise. Disney seems to be back at the very top. They release Frozen, which breaks all records and grosses over $1.2 billion. However, Illumination comes relatively close with Despicable Me 2, earning $975 million, impressive numbers for such a young studio. The animation style also shows significant improvement compared to its predecessor. Pixar releases Monsters University, which is very well received with almost $750 million at the box office. DreamWorks performs well with The Croods but slightly flops with Turbo. Sony Animation releases Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, but it fails to achieve major success. Blue Sky Studios brings out Epic, which I consider one of their best movies, though it doesn't perform particularly well at the box office. However, the animation is slowly reaching Pixar's level. Meanwhile, Disney attempts to expand the Cars universe with planes. The movie doesn't come close to Cars, but it's relatively successful for Disney Toon Studios. Other movies in 2013 include The Wind Rises and Walking with Dinosaurs. In 2014, Disney delivers another masterpiece. DreamWorks and Blue Sky Studios attempt to build new franchises, and the LEGO movies find their origin. Big Hero 6 is the latest Disney movie that amazes both critics and fans, earning just over $650 million. DreamWorks decides to continue the How to Train Your Dragon series, which is met with great approval. The movie, featuring significantly improved animation, grosses over $600 million, making it much more successful than the first. DreamWorks also releases Penguins of Madagascar and Mr. Peabody Sherman, but neither can match the success of How to Train Your Dragon 2. Blue Sky Studios attempts to build a new franchise alongside Ice Age with Rio, which they managed to do to some extent. Rio 2 earns nearly $500 million, making it only slightly more profitable than its predecessor. The biggest surprise, however, is the release of an animated movie in LEGO style by Warner Bros. Animation, which is quite successful, grossing $470 million. A new animation style is born. 2014 also sees the release of the first computer-animated movie of Doraemon. Disney Toon Studios attempts a second Planes movie, which performs worse than the first. Additionally, Disney Toon releases the final 2 Tinker Bell movies before the studio closes. Other movies this year include The Nut Job and The Box Trolls. In 2015, Illumination lands a billion-dollar movie. Pixar impresses as usual, and Sony Animation sees an opportunity. Illumination releases Minions, a spin-off of Despicable Me. Despite a weak story, the movie becomes the second highest-grossing animated movie at the time, earning over $1.1 billion, showcasing the rapid rise of this newcomer. Pixar, on the other hand, brings a strong story to the screen with Inside Out, which also grosses over $850 million. Pixar also releases The Good Dinosaur, which, while a flop by Pixar standards, sets new benchmarks in terms of setting. Sony Animation makes another attempt to build a major franchise with Hotel Transylvania 2, and with nearly $500 million at the box office, they succeed. DreamWorks releases only one movie this year, Home, which is fairly average. Blue Sky Studios attempts the first computer-animated Peanuts movie, which receives very positive reviews but doesn't achieve major box office success. Also noteworthy is Lucasfilm's attempt at animation with Strange Magic, which ends in failure. Other movies include Monkey King, Hero is Back, Shaun the Sheep Movie, and The Little Prince. In 2016, arguably the best year for animation ever, with Pixar, Disney, and Illumination leading the way. This year saw 2 billion-dollar movies. The first, from Pixar, is Finding Dory, which continues the legendary Finding Nemo 13 years later and offers stunning animation. The second is Zootopia, produced by Disney, which might be the best movie of the last decade, impressing everyone with its breathtaking animation and enchanting story. Disney also releases Moana, which grosses over $600 million and features equally spectacular animation. Disney and animation, in general, seem to be at their peak. Illumination also brings 2 movies to theaters, The Secret Life of Pets, which earns nearly $900 million, and Sing, which grosses over $600 million. Illumination proves that they can be successful without the Minions and now belong among the top players in the industry. DreamWorks continues the Kung Fu Panda series, but the third movie performs slightly weaker than its predecessors, earning $500 million. Additionally, they launched the Trolls universe. Blue Sky Studios makes one last attempt with an Ice Age movie, but it earns less than half of what the previous movie did. Other notable movies include Your Name, the Angry Birds movie, and Storks. In 2017, Illumination's success continues, Pixar creates another masterpiece, and the LEGO universe expands. The third installment of Despicable Me is the next movie after Minions and comes close to hitting $1 billion. However, the franchise is starting to feel a bit worn out. Pixar impresses with animation and storytelling in Coco, which grosses over $800 million. They also release Cars 3, which only manages to earn just under $400 million. DreamWorks releases The Boss Baby, which is fairly successful with over $500 million, and Captain Underpants, which flops at the box office. Warner Bros. Animation releases 2 Lego movies, the Lego Batman movie, which performs significantly better than the Lego Ninjago movie. Blue Sky Studios releases Ferdinand, which brings in nearly $300 million. Outside of Ice Age and Rio, Blue Sky Studios struggles to find success. Sony Animation drops the Emoji Movie, which faces harsh criticism, and Smurfs, The Lost Village, with neither movie making a strong impact at the box office. In 2018, Pixar is more successful than ever. Disney tries its hand at its first franchise, and Sony revolutionizes animation. With Incredibles 2, Pixar lands a mega hit. The movie, featuring new animation action, grosses over $1.2 billion, becoming the second highest grossing animated movie. Disney realizes that sequels are particularly profitable and releases its first sequel since The Rescuers Down Under with Ralph Breaks the Internet. While it doesn't achieve massive success, it surpasses its predecessor at the box office. Sony Animation also releases a sequel with Hotel Transylvania 3, which, like Ralph Breaks the Internet, earns nearly $530 million, making it the most successful Sony animated movie. However, the biggest impact on the genre comes from Sony Animation with the release of Spider-Man: Into the Spider-Verse. The movie combines various animation styles and brings fresh energy to the industry, setting a new standard for the future of animation. Illumination releases The Grinch during the holiday season, earning over $500 million. Warner Bros. Animation, in addition to its Lego movies, releases a regular movie with Smallfoot. Additionally, Sherlock Gnomes is released, though it has little success. In 2019, the year of sequels. Disney completely dominated the year before the COVID-19 pandemic. They released the most successful animated movie ever, Until Inside Out 2, with the remake of The Lion King, which features a breathtaking and realistic look. While many don't consider it an animated movie, not a single real shot was used. It grossed over $1.6 billion. Disney also releases Frozen 2, which is equally successful, grossing $1.4 billion, making it the second highest grossing animated movie. As if that weren't enough, Pixar's Toy Story 4 also surpasses $1 billion in earnings, raising the bar for animation quality with its fine craftsmanship. However, the biggest surprise might be that the Chinese movie Ne Zha grossed over $700 million at the box office. DreamWorks releases How to Train Your Dragon 3, which earns just over $500 million but shows significant visual improvement. Additionally, Abominable, a co-production with Pearl Studio, is released but flops. Illumination also brings a sequel to theaters with The Secret Life of Pets 2, which, with $430 million, is much less profitable than its predecessor. Even the Lego Movie gets a sequel, but it barely reaches $200 million at the box office, signaling the decline of the Lego movies. Other sequels include The Angry Birds Movie 2 and Shaun the Sheep movie, Farmageddon. Blue Sky Studios releases their final movie, Spies in Disguise. Other notable movies include The Addams Family, Weathering with You, Wonder Park, and Missing Link. Overall, this decade has shown how animated movies have become increasingly established and popular. There have been significant advancements in both visual quality and box office performance. The biggest winners of the decade were definitely Disney, Illumination, and Pixar. Which year did you find the best? Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks.